but it's good. And again, as I told you earlier, I've listened to that over and over and over again. I absolutely love the album. So
Thank you.
it's
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Yeah, you bet. It's great to catch up about this album. So let's begin there. I want to start with this. How did the idea for this album come about?
Well, I had had tastes of writing for big band. It wasn't something I really had a great interest in because I felt, I don't know, there's a lot I want to do with small group and, you know, just a matter of time, I guess. So then during the pandemic, then I was sitting around wondering if I was ever going to be in a room with people again. And, what am I going to do for work? So I applied for a bunch of grants, and Guggenheim was one of them. And I was thinking, well, what kind of project would involve a lot of people? So, of course, big band came to mind. And so I said, well, let me just go for it. Because I had kind of wanted to do a musical tribute to some of these legends as they were rapidly passing, right? This generation that's passing and passing on to the next great adventure. Um, and I was shocked when I got the Guggenheim. So I said, oh, now I have to do it. So it's been such an incredible experience, so much work. I like to joke around, this is my first and last big band album. But just, learning about just the art of big band writing, I feel like I'm still such a beginner, but really grateful to have incredible counsel and advice from people like Alan Ferber, um, Andy Farber. They were leading, I think they still lead the BMI Jazz Composers Workshop in New York City, which focuses exclusively on big band writing. And just, learning trial by error, like, oh, I don't like the way that sounds, why, and not really, I think that's really been the style of learning for me in terms of jazz. Even with the Monk Institute, it was very much an oral tradition passed on from these masters that I was lucky enough to meet and learn from directly, rather than from a standardized curriculum or book. So, because I still would like to, though. I would like to take a orchestration, arranging class, maybe even a composition class, because I've never taken formal classes in that. But it's been, and also, people ask, they say, well, is Toshiko Akiyoshi a big influence, and Maria Schneider? I guess the women big band leading stuff, and but actually, I would say Charles Mingus is my biggest influence in terms of big band writing. And again, it comes from on stage experience from playing the Mingus big band on and off since 2007. So, yeah.
So having that many souls in together at one time to make music, I always hear that it's such an adventure to get a big band together. It's hard. There's all of these little components. How did it feel to have that big of an ensemble of humans to make music together with?
Well, I've been really lucky. I had the opportunity to workshop this music at different schools mainly, with universities and conservatory programs where they have big bands. And I remember there was one time we were playing something and it didn't go the direction I thought. Well, let's just do it again. I said, hey guys, let's just. And then I realized, oh, you can't do that with 16 people on the stage like you do with a quartet. So it definitely is a different animal. But but that doesn't mean it's more difficult or more. It's just different, and it's an incredible experience having that kind of range of colors and textures. And I tend to think of them in sections, like trumpets and flugelhorns, trombones, and the reeds. So it's more that than 16 different individuals. And one of my the members of the band remarked, they said, even though it is a big band, it still feels like it has the flexibility and the room to solo like you're in a small group, which I think is more fun for me anyway. you
Yeah.
know, because my work primarily, I guess it makes sense because my work primarily has been in small groups. So just really wanting to feature soloing, because I think in big band writing you can easily focus on the written material.
There's so many layers to this album as far as like what we're going through socially and politically and otherwise in this country, but also it's a thank you to a lot of the jazz heroes that you've admired, that we've all collectively admired, from Herbie to Jimmy Heath and all the way up and down the line. What have these musicians collectively taught you about being in this jazz community after all these years? Now you're becoming that beacon for a lot of younger players to teach them as they taught younger players in their life. So what has their influence meant to you to be at this point in your career to be able to dispense this wisdom onto younger players that you get around?
Well, first of all, I'm just so appreciative that they welcomed me in. I really feel like I was very much an outsider, classically trained pianist, everything about me. It's just like, why are you in this room? So just, welcoming me in. And, John Faddis, he's one of the um, masters we learned from at the Monk Institute. He said something recently. I had him for an event where the National Arts Club, they, I was really, really just moved and touched. They gave me they have an award called the Claudette Sorel Award, and it's for women in the arts. Claudette Sorel was an incredible classical pianist who left an incredible legacy. Like, part of her thing is like she's funded concerts with symphony orchestras where they have to have at least one woman conductor conduct a concert on their regular subscription series, and she funds that. And so I was really it was awesome to get that award. And so I wanted to bring. They said, "Well, can you bring somebody who's meant a lot to you?" And John Faddis, he was the artist who was kind enough to help present the award and say some words. And we played together, and he said something in his remarks that, he's a protege of Dizzy Gillespie. Dizzy Gillespie said, "If you can hear the music, you can have the music." And that really struck me, like. And all these masters at the Monk Institute, is now called the Herbie Hancock Institute, they were part of the development of this music in real time through its history, right? Clark Terry, Jackie McLean, Jimmy Heath, Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, Barry Harris, Wayne Shorter, Sir Roland Hanna. So I feel that gave him a very special authority and knowledge in a place of just wisdom, and just that's why I call the album Oracles, because they have a special place in the history of this music, and they were so generous, with their time. And it wasn't just, one unique thing about learning in that kind of setting is not just the transmitting of technical information, like in a classroom setting. It was much more of them sharing their lives and telling stories and telling us about their experiences. We would hang out with them and have meals or just hang out. And I think that's something that, it's important to me in this modern world where everything moves so fast. And I feel like the push is just to keep siloing us into our own little, this thing, this will become our whole world. And that's not cool, in my opinion, right? Because jazz is a communal music. It comes from the roots, where it comes from, the just from a people that were freed to finally have their own voice. The importance of giving everybody their voice, but important, you have to listen to one another. This whole thing about this music, to have a successful experience, you have to be a great listener, and being in conversation. And so all those things, just I think that I carry that with me, and I feel very fortunate to have caught the end of that very special generation.
And I think about that with Sonny, and it's great that you brought that up about kind of the weight of their soul and their influence that was beyond music. Because
Mhm.
all of these musicians that you honor, and Sonny, I think about that. Like when I read all of the obits and everything about his life, there is this catalog, but there is this enormously like gracious, grounded human. Right, that transcended the music, and thank God we have the music, and we can revel in all of the sounds that he left behind. But all of these titans that you're honoring on this album are a part of being just really good people that just they lived in a way that was they're oracles. They're like to me, they're like deities. There's a way that they hum and vibrate that's just different, and it's beautiful,
Yeah, definitely.
you know? So the one thing that you brought up, and I've been talking to musicians about this consistently, it's kind of taboo somewhat to really get into anything political. And I don't want to get into anything overtly political, but I feel like now with what's going on in this country between war and immigration and just this icy coldness that we all feel, that music has always been a social glue. It's been a saving grace. It's been a way for us to get away from the headlines and to feel connected so we don't get too far out past the buoy. And you bring that up specifically about how jazz is completely diametrically opposed to what's going on right now. Elaborate a little bit on your approach and your mentality to giving music to the world, both recorded and live right now.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that it seems there's a denigrating of and really just marginalizing the things that make America cool.
Right.
you know, um, I think just I mean, I think it's never good when you try to um, put certain people down because of this or that reason or want them out of the picture or just, I think it's ill advised. It's rooted in all the wrong things, I think it goes against just being human. I think when we do that, we do violence to our own souls, and we don't even fully appreciate the consequences of that. And I think not just music, all the arts, I think it's a preservative of human culture, one of the preservatives, or just because music of course can be used as a tool, art can be used as a tool, but when it's honest expression and the genuine, sincere sharing of sound and community, it somehow can get around those hostilities and barriers. So that's what I'm hoping for. Just whenever I play, because I know there are people out there I probably disagree with very, very strongly about their political views. But I think it's also important still to not be so, um, to get to the point where you can't even talk with people or listen to them, even though inside I want to like, you know,
Yeah.
and just to show that, we are still members of the human race and we can still dialogue. But I'm going to, as much as I can, in what I do and what I play and what I say, my form of resistance, resistance against that type of worldview,
Yeah.
that type of, yeah, that type of wanting to, a world like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I think if they really saw the end result, it'd be pretty stark and unfortunate. Like, I don't think, who wants a world like that,
Right.
And it's very short-sighted and very selfish and very um, yeah, it's just not healthy.
No.
So, I think whenever, music is something we gather around for enjoyment, for celebration, for just wonder at, the awe of just how sound can be organized in a way that gives such pleasure and delight. Hopefully this will open people up to just like, look at this type of world. You're not going to lose. It's not a zero sum game, right?
Yeah.
It's not winner loser. It's like, because man, this planet, we have to learn how to share. We have to learn how to live in harmony, not only with ourselves but with the planet, or that big broom is going to sweep everybody off the planet.
Yeah.
Whatever form it comes in, because it's like, I feel like that kind of unfortunate, just grabbing whatever you can, that does violence to the planet too. I was just, anyway. So this music to me celebrates that, the welcoming that I feel like that I felt from the jazz masters, that this what Dizzy said, if you can hear this music, you can have it, but that doesn't mean no one else can have it. Everyone
Right.
can have it. It's available to everybody. And it's not it's there's room at the table for everyone
Absolutely.
if we live in a way I feel like that is in line with how we were created to live.
For sure. So let me ask you this. When we get to this point, we're talking about an album, it's like it's in the rearview mirror. There's things that are coming up, you're moving on. But I'm curious, going into this venture of honoring your heroes, a big band, coming out of the pandemic, all of these things, what did you learn about yourself that maybe you didn't realize before you went into this process? Did you have any revelations about yourself as a player or a human in this process?
Well, I was very relieved that I could actually write big band music that I liked. Because I wasn't sure, can I pull this off? The recording itself was a crazy experience. This was 2024, not too far after the pandemic, and just it was, a lot, so many logistics. I think mainly just that it's encouraging that during the pandemic I wish I had rested more. I should have slept more, but I was working really hard and I practiced a lot, and just it's exciting to know that this music, what you put into it, the music will give it back. Like I was so excited to see that I got better and I can still get better, and I also grew up playing the violin and now have crazy thoughts of, ooh, what if I did big band with strings or orchestra? I think it just, like, the world just keeps getting bigger, which is, it's awesome. It never ends. It can be, I have a strong perfectionist streak in me, which wants to keep, this is, no, the,
Yeah.
the world just keeps getting bigger and there's more to explore.
You know what's great about the big band concept, that even vinyl, when I think about music, is in this era of AI, I'm always convinced and reassured that the humans are going to win out when it comes to the arts. Because you can't do that. You can't make that sound with anything AI generated. You just can't do it. It's not going to be authentic. And same thing with vinyl. There's something that's special about our reversion in a good way back to this kind of analog glow of all of it. What's your thought on AI as we kind of expand and the world gets bigger?
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like at this moment, because I know of some artists who really have been utilizing it in different ways. Um, I think it's a tool like anything else, and there are going to be some really great upsides, unexpected or expected, and really great, horrible downsides too. Um, I guess I feel like the trend always is things done with greater speed, greater speed, greater fit. I'd sit in the subway and it says, if you the road map from here to a presentation, like with meetings, people, but AI, boom, you can get it done in a straight line in like 2 minutes or something ridiculous like that. And I mean, I guess that's good in some ways, but I just think sometimes really great art takes time,
Yeah.
because I don't know, for me, I need time to think, to reflect, to try things, to throw, and just to feel like, I don't know. I hope you're right, because I've been hearing about how AI can make it sound really darn close, and
Yeah.
that's a little scary. But
it,
I'm
it is.
hoping that, I think in the end, maybe only the rich will be able to afford this in-person type of experience, because it's going to become such a premium. I don't know.
Yeah.
I for one, because I spoke with somebody, why this push? And they said, well, they think they want everybody to just be at home all day interacting with whatever, virtual reality, which to me sounds terrible.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's a tool that, I personally want to be conversant, just so I feel like it's here. It's like somebody said, it's going to be oh, I was listening to a Bernie Sanders podcast. Like the industrial revolution happened, the
Yeah,
AI revolution is going to happen. So
yeah,
we have to contend with it, and we have to deal with the times that we live in.
yeah. We
I don't know how
certainly
this
do.
is going to look, but
Yeah. It's hard to say, but I really feel like, especially with jazz being such a organic um, mix of improv, I hope that is the antithesis to this refined AI world we're walking into. So, Oracles is the wonderful new album. It's streaming everywhere, but if anybody wants a copy, if anybody wants to download it, is it Bandcamp or where should they go?
they can go to Bandcamp, Apple Music, and I need to get my online store together. I have an online store. I need to. It's just been so much going on, but yes, my online store. I'm sure all the regular the retailers like Amazon Music, um, and at my live performances. So I
Yes.
really encourage folks to come out to live shows. You know, dragging around a big band is not the easiest thing. So
Right.
when I can't do that, I'm doing something called an Oracles quartet version, where I recently I did a weekend at a venue up in Tarrytown, New York, called the Jazz Forum, and I invited Buster Williams and Lenny White to play, and it was awesome learning their music and playing and just really showcasing and celebrating who they are. And I want to keep that as a theme too. I'm going to do some touring on the West Coast, so I definitely want to hit up Charles McPherson and some other Hubert Laws. Hopefully, they'll be available. So we'll do their music and small group versions of the big band. But yeah, so hopefully widely available everywhere.
Excellent. And speaking of live, you've been to Kansas City a few times. We've talked about it coming here. Have you hit any spots? Is there anything that stands out coming to Kansas City?
Oh, I love the American Jazz Museum. I
Yeah.
love the Blue Room. I love the Foley Theater. Oh,
Yeah.
no, sorry, the Foley
Poly
Theater.
Theater. Yeah.
Foley Theater. And of course, the school, UMKC.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, what I'm trying to do is to find directors. Like I did it at Florida State. I'm about to do it at DePaul in Chicago. I did it at UC Northridge in California, University of Vermont. Um, just bringing the project to the schools. Oh, UNT. Um, yeah, so hopefully maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Be heading y'all's way because I love being in Kansas City. It's
Right
such
on.
a great city.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful, and it's always good to see you here. So, Helen, thank you again. Thank you so much again. It's Oracles, and it's everywhere to be streamed and picked up. So, again, thank you so much for taking a minute out. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you.
Neon Jazz.